Today on Many Ways to Win, we tell you the top dozen transfers coming into the American Athletic Conference women's basketball scene this season. Some teams have more than one, some don't have any. But who is who? Let's get to work. So you want to know who the top transfers are for the 2025-2026 season for American Athletic Conference women's basketball. Well, have I got good news for you? I have the list, and the list goes like this. We excluded one, players that were in the American Athletic Conference last season. Yes, we know that there have been some in-conference transfers, and some of those players may be hugely impactful for the teams they've landed with for the upcoming season, but those were excluded from this list. Secondarily, we have also tried to limit this list to players that average at least 10 points per game last year for a team that wasn't in the American. Now, that will exclude JUCO, that will exclude NAIA, and that will also exclude players that maybe didn't play a full season last year and averaged double figures 2 years ago or a year before that. Sorry, those players also not on this list. But the ones you are going to find, I expect to be probably pretty big name conversation players for all conference honors this year. Maybe not quite voted preseason all conference because those tend to come more for players who are in the conference, at least from what we've seen in past years, returning. But we shall see just what unfolds for these newcomers who expect to be dynamic on the season. So let's get to our first newcomer who should be impactful this season for an American Athletic Conference women's basketball team. We start with Charlotte and we go to Tamikia Reed's side. Again, second year at the helm, a lot of turnover this season, and is trying to find some impactful scoring. And she probably got one in the front court and one in the back court. At least that's what she thinks. So you go with Zoe Best out of Southeast Missouri State, 5'10. Last year as a freshman, 14 points per game, 5.1 rebounds per game, 1.3 steals per game. When you look at Zoe Best, again, she did that for a SEMO team that was 5-23, so you can take that into account. But also, I think to be able to stand up at that level to college competition does say something. She is brave with her range, to say the least. She's got pretty good timing defensively, and she's pretty fast to the rack. So those three things I think should help her out a lot for a Charlotte team that is looking for a scoring punch. They were not one of the league's top scoring outfits last season. She will try in tandem with Ajanay Nicholson from Bethune-Cookman, who last year went 8-21. But don't let that fool you. She is lanky. She has the ability to rip drive to the rim. She's gotten faster throughout her college career. And her wingspan on defense obviously is something not to be ignored in the front court. She's 5'10", but she can cover a lot of ground. Last year, 12 points per game and 11 rebounds per game. So to get a double-double coming to your team out of a team in the SWAC is pretty good work for Tamikia Reed. Now, that obviously draws on her roots going back to her days at Jackson State. And perhaps she, foresaw this. You have an idea of the players that you see year to year, and maybe they can help you in the future, depending where your program is. Maybe not. We go from there to a team that's sharing a state with Charlotte, and that's East Carolina. And I do think that there were a number of good players for Kim McNeil's side, but coming in, the one that stands out is certainly Savannah Brooks. Doesn't have to go far, comes over from Coastal Carolina, 13 points per game last season as a junior. She's well traveled, started the career at Delaware State, so she keeps bumping up and up and up and up. And I think what's non traditional about getting Savannah Brooks is she comes from a Coastal team that was 21-9. So I think you're going to see, I think, throughout these rankings, it's more rare to get a player that's coming from a winning team and was scoring in double figures into your program, from the transfer portal, because a lot of those kids, like to stay and maintain what they're doing in a successful program elsewhere. But Brooks makes the leap from Conway over to Greenville, and obviously hoping it's going to be good for her in purple and gold. An unselfish player, kind of sneaks up on you with her scoring, but she finishes and she's got that shooting touch that I think is going to help that backcourt for East Carolina tremendously. And I think she will certainly be an impact transfer this year for the Pirates. You go forward from there, and you look at the class of the league, the defending champions in South Florida. In some ways, I think it's easier as the best team in the league to draw good players because obviously good players want to go to good teams, programs with a track record of success. But you still have to go out there and pound the pavement, so to speak, or at least digitally pound the pavement, sell yourself, sell your program. And I think South Florida got a haul in terms of guards that have shown levels of production that should serve them well in the American. So you start with the in-state commit Eden Battle from Jacksonville, and there may not be another school in this list that has two alums, quote unquote, that'll be American Athletic Conference players this coming season. There may be another Jacksonville Dolphin in the mix. We'll let you know. But Battle, a 5'7" guard, 20 points per game, 3 rebounds per game, 2 assists per game, and 1.2 steals per game last year. The Jacksonville team under Special Jennings was 13 and 17. But Battle is an extremely well built guard, drive minded, really, really quick first step. This is a player that you're going to see at the rim and at the foul line, I think, quite often this year for Jose Fernandez side. You add to her Katie Davidson, 5'10", out of IU Indy, who again did not play for a good team, 9 and 21 last year with the Jaguars, but she's got that kind of all-around game that can work almost anywhere. She's got range. She can design her own shot very well. 19 points per game last year, 4 rebounds, a steal, and shot 47% from beyond the arc. You probably can't replace Sammy Puisis. I think 1-to-1, but I think if you're looking for a carbon copy of that, maybe it is Katie Davidson coming in for the Bulls, and that's bad news for Bulls opponents. The last one I wanted to get to was Kirsten Lewis Williams. It might be Kirsten, but she comes over from a Buffalo squad again, whose coach left to go to Arizona. Buffalo was 28 and 7, so she comes from a very good team. Sophomore, 5'10", 13 points per game, 5 rebounds per game, 3.1 assists per game, and just well rounded. And I say sophomore, she was sophomore last year. But she's just got vision. She's got footwork. She's smooth offensively, and I think you put that three-guard tandem, whether they all play on the same line or not, having them all in the fold for USF is a wealth of transfer portal talent for the defending league champs. And when you're on top, you don't want to fall off. That looks like what USF is trying to do in terms of who they have gone after in the portal and secured. We go forward to the Temple Owls, who have been a very consistent team over Diane Richardson's tenure, and they landed Sanaya Craig, who is the second player on this list, former Jacksonville Dolphin. And she's 6'1", 11 points per game, 11 rebounds per game last year for that Jacksonville side. We mentioned that Jacksonville was a sub 500 team, but she's a physical presence. She's long. She brings it on the offensive glass. She's very energetic. And I think that Temple, I think, has been, as we have seen, I don't want to say maybe selective, but I think they know what they're looking for in terms of transfer portal talent, and they tend to get one or two players rather than a whole bevy of them. At least that's been the pattern for Diane Richardson's team. But they tend to be selective, and I think that they believe Sanaya Craig can be a force for them. It's going to be a lot to replace Terriana Gary and Tiara East, and certainly. Trying to add on the interior, whether they've tried Amaya Oliver or Rain Tucker over the last couple of years, depending on the season, having that inside presence alongside Jaleesa Molina is going to be extremely important for Sanaya Craig. You go down from there, and I don't mean down, I just mean down alphabetically. You find the Tulane Green Wave, second-year head coach, Ashley Langford, trying to get that program back to where Lisa Stockton expects it to be. And she's doing that by adding two players. One in Jordan Weaver, who is a front court player at 5'11", comes over from Queens University in Charlotte. 14 points per game, 7 rebounds per game, and a steal per game. Queens was 8 and 19 last year, so not that great, but she's a very athletic four. Weaver has great touch in the mid-range. That jab step is lethal, and she's pretty strong on the glass as well. She is one of two players for Tulane, who scored in double figures last year and is transferring in. The other one being CC Mays. CC Mays. The other is CC Mays out of Marshall. And Marshall last season, again, you remember 2 years ago, they had an incredible run. And then last year, under a new head coach, they get a 13 and 20 season, which is not quite what they wanted, though they did make a run in that Sun Belt tournament. Mays at 5'8", 11 points per game, 5 rebounds per game. She's well built. strong, aggressive, attacks the basket both for rebounds and on the drive. So I think add those two pieces alongside who's the returning freshman of the year, Kendall Sneed. The growth of Amira Mabry, and you're seeing this Tulane side start to shape up a little bit with Weaver and Cece Mays. You go down from there alphabetically to Tulsa, who probably lost as much as anybody 2 seasons ago when Tamira Poindexter transferred. It was really on the shoulders of Delaney Crawford last year, and it looked hard. And still, they persevered through injuries, and probably not as much depth or maybe overall roster production to get into that middle tier in the American Athletic Conference. And I think Angie Nelp decided I've had enough. I want to go out and get some really, really productive players to try and replace the likes of Delaney Crawford and Tamira Poindexter, who are now gone. So she goes out and gets Abby Jagetti, and that name may be said differently. I tried to look up the pronunciation, couldn't find it, but started her career at Villanova, and now last season at Northeastern really went off. 5'10" guard who scored 15 points per game, 4 rebounds per game, had a steal per game as well. Northeastern was not good, 3 and 25, and the Huskies are going to be looking for some stability this year. But she was so fearless on the catch and shoot, probably as fearless as anybody I've watched among the transfers, maybe even a little more so than Zoe Best. She's also a slasher, a willing cutter, which is great to have, and she's got some mid range opportunities and touch as well. So I think you give Angie Nelp an offensive player like that, she's going to be satisfied, I think, with her role in the offense, or at least satisfied with the way things look over there for the Golden Hurricane. And as if that were not enough, they added a second top transfer in Teresa Sapala. I believe it's Teresa, actually, Teresa Sapala out of Siena, who comes from Finland, 6 feet tall, long and long range. 16 points per game, 6.2 rebounds, and a steal per game last season. That Siena team was 17 and 14, so they performed decently. She has really improved her playmaking and her defense. And those two players as backcourt additions make total sense for Tulsa as they try to go longer and also add the shooting touch, which works for what they want to do as a team. The last player I wanted to mention comes from UAB, and it's Bertia Curtis. She comes from Nichols, who was 17 and 14 last year, averaged 10 points per game, shot 40% from the field, 34% from three, did come up with 45 steals and 1.2 assists per game. She's very smooth. Her anticipation was pretty strong. You see the vision, you see a little bit of flair with the passing in her game, and she's a strong shooter. And that UAB team looking to replace a lot of depth this year, trying to put playmakers alongside Alicia Carter, Journey Armstead as well. So filling out the backcourt there with Bertia Curtis, I think would be a pretty big opportunity for the Blazers if she can make the impact that they desire based on what she brings to the table and what she brought to the table last year in Nichols. Those are the top 12 transfers in the American for the 2025-2026 women's basketball season, and that means, unfortunately, that categorically FAU, Memphis, North Texas, Rice, UTSA, and Wichita State did not have any players among the top transfers list, but that does not mean that they're not going to have some players who surprise. And I'll be interested to see just who it is, whose fire gets lit by quote unquote being, overlooked because they didn't, score or produce at the level that some of the others who are incoming players did last season. So let me know what you think in the comments. If you agree, if you disagree, if we made you think or made you laugh or made you cry or made you cuss, please feel free to like the video, throw us a follow, subscribe to the channel, and share it on social media if you want to. You can find me on social media. I'm not hard to get to, and you can also email me as well. All that information is in the description. So do your best, get some rest. We'll be back talking American Athletic Conference women's basketball in the weeks and days to come leading up to the season. And I hope you check out the rest of Many Ways to Win here on Typhoon Streams. I'm Tyler Springs. Thanks for taking the time.